Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel for the ones who have been here before, and welcome for the ones who have not. My name is Janae and I'm the owner of Confidently You Creations. And for today's tutorial, we're going to be doing a Lisa Frank Snowglobe Tumbler, or Peekaboo Snowglobe Tumbler. You guys have seen me do Peekaboo Snow Globes previously with the winter one, and we also did a Valentine's Day one. So now we're going to be doing a more childhood remembrance one. Everybody knows Lisa Frank, and if you haven't, here's a picture of the tumbler that we're going to be doing today. Everything that I use will be linked down in the description box for you guys to check out. The fabric that I used, I don't think she's selling it anymore. I'll try to find a different design for you guys if you wanted to do this Lisa Frank fabric inspired one. I forgot to mention in the beginning, it is made with a fabric, so that's why I'm doing this tutorial, because it's not a vinyl. It's actually a fabric, so I'm going to show you guys how to apply it to the tumbler, peekaboo it, and all that fun stuff. For the glitter, I'll also link that down in the description box. As you guys know, you get a discount from Glitterful for the glitters used in this tutorial and any glitters on the website. So I think that was all that I wanted to mention in the beginning. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this tutorial. All right, hello my friends. As always, we start off with a fully sanded and prepped tumbler. I put painter's tape around the rim, and then I spray painted it with Rustoleum's flat white spray paint. And this is the fabric we're going to be using today. I got this from Tumblercutsbydee, and I'll link her in the description box. But again, I don't think she's selling this fabric anymore. I messaged her and she ain't messaged me back. So anyways, so I'm going to like measure out the like how much fabric I need. So you can see me like just placing it on the tumbler, and I'm going to mark off with the pen. I kind of like eyeballed it, like underneath the word bug is where I was going to cut it. So I'm just going to get my ruler and a pen to mark off like where I'm going to cut it. You don't have to do this part. You can just, you know, start wrapping it around the tumbler and then cut it afterwards if you want. Since this is like an odd shaped tumbler, it's not going to be like even all the way around. So you're more than welcome to do however you're comfortable. I didn't want to use a marker because I didn't want it to like bleed through the fabric. So I just kind of used a pen to cut it. I don't have any fabric scissors either, which if you have, you can use that since they're sharper and they're made for fabric, but I don't always work with fabric, so I don't have those scissors on hand. As you can see how jacked up my cuts are, right? But it's going to be peekaboo, so again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You want it to be, you want to properly do it, but it doesn't have to be perfect, if you know what I mean. So we're going to take our ModPodge and we are going to apply a little bit to start with. Then after that, you're going to place the first part of your fabric on top of that ModPodge, and you're going to firmly press it on to make sure there's no bubbles or no gaps in your fabric. After that, you're just going to kind of work around the tumbler and make sure you get that ModPodge underneath to where you don't have any like leftover spaces where you don't have any ModPodge. And you're just going to kind of do this until you work your way all around the tumbler. The first time I did one, I just kind of like placed the ModPodge all around the tumbler and then place the fabric on there. It's harder to do it that way because you will have some gaps where, you know, like placing anything like that. I don't know how to really explain it, but you want to kind of do it this way, a little bit at a time, to where you can get all of the, you know, bubbles and make sure you get all the nooks and crannies. So this is a stretchy fabric, so I was able to kind of like stretch it at the top and the bottom to make sure I get that bottom part, because again, it's like an odd shaped tumbler, and I cut it like evenly straight across. So there was gonna be some fabric left over at the top, or there may have been not enough fabric at the bottom. So this was stretchy, where I can actually just kind of stretch it to make it fit. So I did like that about this fabric. So once you're all done with that, just kind of set it aside and let it dry before you cut it. And make sure you have a sharp crafting knife. I did not have a sharp one. I didn't have any more blades. So I did go back and I just used scissors. And when you're cutting stretchy fabric like this, as you can see, I accidentally cut it a little bit too short, which is fine because you want to have enough room to seal this fabric with the Mod Podge. So in all actuality, you want to expose some of that spray paint. So again, this was the first one that I did using this fabric. I have made a fabric tumbler before, and it was Sandlot. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see that coming up shortly. But with this fabric, you definitely want to make sure to expose the spray paint at the top and the bottom, so when we go to seal it, you'll have a proper seal. So now you want to go ahead and cut the seam of where they overlap. You can have a little bit of overlapping, is totally fine. Or if you don't want the overlap, you don't have to have the overlap. It's just kind of your preference. Go ahead and trim the bottom. Again, make sure to trim it enough to expose some of the spray paint so you can get a proper seal at that bottom. All right, so again, my cut is not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to peekaboo it. If you don't plan on peekabooing it, you can get a little bit more straighter. So the top, again, make sure I did not on this one. The next one I did. But again, at the top where the lip of the cup meets the fabric, you want to expose that spray paint, excuse me, to get a proper seal on this thing, okay? So I'm just going back and just trimming off some of the excess at the bottom that I did not want, so we can go ahead and start laying our layers of Mod Podge on it. So now you're going to go ahead and place your first layer of Mod Podge. I did this two or three times, depending on your comfort level. This is going to be epoxied over, so if you do it 2 times, that's perfectly fine. Let this dry. It is going to take longer to dry because it's a fabric. So let this dry for a couple hours and then go in and place a second coat. Let that second coat dry again for a couple hours or overnight, and then go ahead and place 2 layers of epoxy on top of your 2 layers of Mod Podge. You want to make sure you adequately seal this because we don't want epoxy to leak underneath it and all that fun stuff, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do the second layer off camera, and I also did the epoxying off camera because you guys seen me epoxy plenty of tumblers before. This one is no different. Just make sure you get underneath the lip of that cup to, again, properly seal everything with epoxy. So here is the cup. It has been epoxied twice and it has cured for probably well more than 12 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and take my painter's tape off so we can go ahead and trim around the rim where we have a little bit of excess paint, epoxy, and then we're also going to get underneath the lip of the cup as well. So the reason why I said whenever you are applying the fabric to expose that like a little bit of the spray paint was because this part can be a little bit tough if you did not do that. So it's just going to require a lot more work because the epoxy is going to get all underneath there. It's going to harden and all that fun stuff. That's not actually fun. So after that, you want to wipe off your rim with some acetone and also the inside where you may have gotten some white spray paint. We're going to wash this out with soap and water at the end, so no worries. All right, so this is the part where you are going to try on your plastic piece to make sure you don't have to trim anymore. Make sure it fits on there all the way, seated. If you have to go back and trim some more, please do, and clean up all the excess epoxy that may have fell underneath there, okay? So this is what I'm going to use, a syringe, to express the epoxy on the inside of the lip of the cup is what I call it. I don't know what else to call it. So take your syringe with some epoxy. Usually it takes about 7 milliliters of epoxy to fill it up. So just go all the way around, circling the inside lip of that cup until it's all the way full. It's up to you if you want to fill it all the way up or if you want to kind of like halfway fill it, because obviously the more you fill it up all the way to the top, once you go to place that plastic dome piece on, it is going to kind of rise up and expand because it was all the way full. But I like to do that to make sure it's completely sealed. You're not going to see the excess amount at the end of the day once you peekaboo it, okay? So this is what it looks like once it's all the way dry. I let mine dry overnight unless you're using like a quick coat, a quick set epoxy. Quick epoxy is going to take about 4 to 6 hours to set up. So now I have my bottle because I do have a 1-year-old and I have lots of these at home. So I usually use this for my my distilled water and my glycerin. I added 10 ounces of water and I added 10 ounces of glycerin to make 20 ounces, obviously, to fill up. I had other ones to fill up at the same time, so that's why I'm using so much. But typically it takes about 5 to 6 ounces to fill up one tumbler. So you don't have to use all that I just used. So you're gonna mix both of those up together until you have a clear consistency. And then after that, so I'm using pink lemonade. I'm using, I forgot the name of that one, but I'll link them at the bottom for you guys to check out. Pink lemonade is one of my favorite ones to use for these snow globes, and also Cinderella. That's the one I'm pouring in now. I absolutely love those two. So I'll link those down in the box. Cinderella is already chunky, so you don't have to sift it. And when I say sift, I'll show you guys in just a minute what I mean. So I'm mixing up all 3 of those because I didn't just want to choose one color, I wanted 3. So after that, I always pour a little bit of water or the solution in first because I never know like what the glitter will look like dispensed in the water. So I always just add a little water first, especially if I'm doing new glitters. I want to see what they look like first in the water before I just add all my glitter. You know what I mean? So this is what I mean by sifting it. I take it in my little sifter to get all of the fine glitter out. Fine glitter always chunks up inside of snow globes. Some people like it, some people don't. I prefer not to have fine glitter. And so now I'm going to pour it back into my cup and then put it into my snow globe. Again, I like to add the solution first, because if I'm using something totally new that I don't know how it's going to look, I want to see how it looks inside of the snow globe first. But that's just my preference. You don't have to do it that way. You can add all of your glitter, especially if it's something that you've been working with for a long time. But even still, I still add my solution first so I know how much glitter to add, because I don't want to put too much in there to cover up the design that we have on the tumbler. So anyway, I feel like I've been talking long enough. So after you add that, dry off the top of the where you placed your liquid, and then you're going to go in with your silicone, your clear silicone that's by GE, and you can find it at Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, any place like that. You're going to go ahead and go around the top of it, kind of pushing it down a little bit, not too much, but just kind of pushing it against the wall and just kind of pushing it down just a little bit. It's not going to sink in your solution, I promise. It's really, really thick. And then I also get that middle part. I don't know why. I just don't like it being open and exposed. I don't know. You don't have to do that part, but I just do. I feel like eventually, like if it starts to leak past the silicone, you know what I mean? Like in a year, if it starts to like break down, I don't want it to go in that little hole. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just me. Anyways, you're going to go around it to make sure you've gotten all the nooks and crannies, to make sure it's properly against the wall of the tumbler, to where you don't have any like holes or gaps. Just kind of smoothing it out, making sure it's not too high, because you do have to leave some room for the top to be screwed on. So that's why the whole bottom is not siliconed, because you do have to leave space around that middle part to where to put your top on, making sure it's not too high. Kind of just make it flat to where, you know, you won't have any issues putting that the bottom on. After that, I did put the bottom on. I forgot to film the part where I was putting on the decals, but it is just literally hearts and a rainbow, and then the offset for my Lisa Frank words. That's literally it. And then I spray painted it. Nothing hard. Once I took off the vinyl, I epoxied it with some shimmer in there. I'll link that down in the description box too, because I added glitter to my epoxy. And then, so now I'm just going to go ahead and add my decals on. I did just Google Lisa Frank. Once I Googled it, I uploaded it to, I saved it, uploaded the Lisa Frank logo to my Cricut Design Space. And then I printed it out or cut it out, I guess. I did do an offset for it. If you want me to do a separate tutorial on how I did it, just let me know in the comments and I will do a separate tutorial for that. But I created an offset for the logo. That is what I put on first. Then I spray painted it. And so now I'm putting on the actual vinyl. I also printed out some rainbow leopard spots. This I got from Amazon. But craft, what's it called? Tech Wraps. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm so sorry, y'all. Tech Wraps. I have a discount code for you guys for Tech Wraps. Also, they have a great rainbow vinyl just like this. And I'm also going to be uploading a different tutorial using some of their vinyl. Okay. So I'll link all of those discount codes in the description box for you guys. So I am just going to place these leopard spots around the cup. No rhyme or reason, just kind of sort of how I envisioned it. And then we'll come back. All right, now I'm going to weed out the clouds to go to our rainbow. I wanted to add a little bit more color to it. I know I have rainbow spots. That's enough color, right? But I wanted to kind of freshen it up with the rainbow and add the clouds. I didn't know if I was going to do this or not, so I just went ahead and printed it out just in case I, did or did not want to do it. And afterwards, I did. So I'm going to add the clouds to the rainbow here. And I just printed off the rainbow from Cricut Design Space. It was just a rainbow in the images. Same thing for the heart. It was just a heart in the design space. So after that, this is kind of the final look of it. However, we are going to sand the rim and clean up the inside. This is something that I don't normally like film or show you guys. So I'm going to show you guys what I do after it's finished, right? So I also add my logo to the bottom of the tumblers, which I don't normally show you guys either. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and sand the rim. This is something that is definitely needed. I've already have one coat of epoxy on this because I wanted to add that shimmer to it, and I didn't want to add the shimmer to like over the decals. So I did that prior to. So this is normally how I just sand the top of these Snowglobe tumblers, as you guys can see there, just exposing a very thin line of stainless steel to where our final 2 coats of epoxy will have something to adhere to. Okay, so this is how you create a long-lasting tumbler where you don't have any chips or peeling at the top of your tumbler. So we're just going to go ahead and finish sanding this off, and then we're going to go ahead and clean up the inside of the tumbler. All right, now you're just going to take some alcohol first to wipe off the rim of where you just sanded, and then after that you're going to take your acetone and you're going to wipe off all the spray paint and the inside of the cup. I know you probably got confused for a second because I did show you guys I spray painted it purple, but again I did do multiple of these, so I'll show you guys at the end the pink one and the purple one. I know I didn't mention that as I was talking, but I did show you that I did the purple one and also have the pink one, but I just forgot to show the spray painted version of the pink one. So yeah, I guess the same difference, just different color. So once you finish acetoning the inside, you want to go ahead and wash this with soap and water, dry it completely, and then you're going to do your 2 final coats of epoxy. So yeah, I will show you guys both of the finished products. So here's the purple one. This one I really like. I think this one was my favorite. It does have the rainbows on the back and another heart. So they're both a little bit different. And then here's the pink one. This one has a rainbow on the front and then the heart on the back. So thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this tutorial. I really do appreciate it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out our website where we do have vinyl for you guys and scrapbook paper. I'll link our website down in the description box for you guys to check that out. And follow us on social media, Confidently You Creations, and see you next time.